welcome back to Dilkash the Talk. Today we have a very special guest whose journey is an inspiration to us all. She is an influencer, a PR marketeer, and owns a salon. So without waiting, let's talk to Haddiya Aazer. Assalamualaikum Haddiya.
Walaikum salam.
So Haddiya, I think मेरे से बेहतर है आप अपनी जर्नी और आप अपना इंट्रोडक्शन ज़्यादा बेहतर दे सकती हैं. So let's talk about your journey from the beginning and how did you come into being?
So the journey started 8 years ago. Like my influencer journey started 8 years ago. But then the boost came in when I started my weight loss journey. I was always an overweight person throughout my life. And I guess it increased more and more. But I was very happy in my life. I got married to the love of my life. And I think आप इतने खुश होते हो कि you just tend to have fun together, go out together, have food together. So the love for food was so much that obviously because मुझे tendency थी बहुत ज़्यादा. So I kept on gaining. And the peak point was after my first baby, Shazan. There was no stopping, honestly. I touched about 125 kgs, which was a little alarming, frustrating. And a point came when I actually thought that now is enough and I should think about it. Not that anybody, like my husband or anybody ever pinpointed it. It just struck in my own head, ke ab bas, due to health issues. Not about looks, not about being in the fashion industry or anything. It was solely about health. That I have to think about my health, being at an age of, 25, 26. It shouldn't be that weight. Knowing there was a family history of diseases. So I had to think about my pregnancy and post-pregnancy was the point where I started thinking about my weight loss.
Speaking of the love of your life, how did you and Aazer meet?
It was a very strange mulaqat, jisko kahenge. A friend of mine actually made us talk just generally. I was in a phase at that point because I lost my mother a few months before I met Aazer. So I think the phase was so depressing that I was okay talking to a new person. And we just started talking and it was, I think, in a matter of a month, कि हमारा रिश्ता हो गया था.
Wow. Okay. So वो match made in heaven वाला.
Kind of, yeah, you can say that. Nobody actually believed it. Everybody used to think me and him have an affair since a long time, which is not true at all. 2010 April, my mom passed away. 2011 March, I met Aazer. And October 2011, we got married.
Nice, mashallah. All right, and you were overweight back then as well.
Yes.
So living in a Pakistani society, people have a hard time accepting someone. You may have heard a lot of, sayings or comments in which
रिश्ते
नहीं होते and all of that. And was there anything specific from Aazer's family or, शादियों में इस तरह के functions में कोई कहने से बाज नहीं आता, कोई कुछ ना कुछ कह ही जाता है.
So we can't actually stop others from saying it. My only concern was Aazer himself, who never had an issue. Even his mother was very accepting because Aazer is not from Lahore and his family used to live in Quetta. So when I met my mother-in-law for the first time, it was a very pleasant meeting and later on when I left, she categorically told Aazer not to say anything about my weight. I'm like, he shouldn't be. And he was like, no, absolutely not. I am not going to say anything about her weight because I accepted her this way and I made you meet her this way. So there's no point I'm going to say anything about weight.
That's great. So, आपकी शादी के कितने टाइम बाद you decided कि you want to be an influencer or a PR marketeer, and when did your career actually begin?
About after getting married, about 4 years after that. This happened right after I had my first baby. At that point, I thought I wasn't able to do a job, though I was doing a job. I was into teaching for the longest of time, but with having obviously a baby, it was very difficult. So randomly, me and Aazer, we just started a page. उस वक्त नाम भी कुछ और था जो मुझे याद भी नहीं है. But we started a page on men's fashion basically.
All right.
Because और आज भी honestly 9 साल बाद भी मेरी statement वही है कि यहाँ पे men's fashion पे कोई focus नहीं करता. There are hardly any brands, there are hardly any influencers, male influencers, and there are hardly any men fashion, honestly. So we decided to start that. But then when we started, and of course then I started to going on events and everything that was happening in town. But then we realized कि सिर्फ men's fashion में हमारे पेज ने आगे बढ़ना ही नहीं है, because कुछ था ही नहीं करने को. Then obviously we diversified into everything. That was lifestyle, everything that was happening in town, food, lifestyle, fashion, everything. And आहिस्ता आहिस्ता तब मार्केट हमारी ऐसी नहीं थी जिसमें इन्फ्लुएंसर्स हो. उस वक्त पेजेस होते थे, सिटी सेज था, मैगजीन्स थे. दे यूज्ड टू बी पेजेस, नॉट इन्फ्लुएंसर्स. इंडिविजुअल्स नहीं होते थे. फिर वो आहिस्ता आहिस्ता इंडिविजुअल्स का ट्रेंड आना शुरू हुआ. इंडिविजुअल का ट्रेंड अभी इतना आया नहीं भी था व्हेन आई स्टार्टेड माई वेट लॉस जर्नी. एंड ऑब्वियसली आई चेंज माई पेजेस नेम टू माई ओन नेम. एंड देन द वेट लॉस वेंट वायरल. It suddenly went viral. A lot of pages started reposting, a lot of pages started taking my interviews, a lot of newspapers, a lot of channels. So it kind of went viral. The following increased massively. So that was the turning point when I, kind of decided to be an individual person who shares her life, her journey, and what is happening in her life.
Exactly. And that was after your first baby.
Yeah.
ठीक है. So it's very inspiring कि you managed to have all these things and then owning a salon and starting your own business is another journey. So let's jump on to that.
So that was what I wanted to do a long time back. I really wanted to get into that. I was never a job person. I always wanted to have something of my own. So this was one thing जिसमें कह लो interest भी था, knowledge भी थी. Of course, I went for a lot of trainings first before starting. And 3 years हो गया almost that we started the business and it's doing well, alhamdulillah.
Yeah, mashallah. So Haddiya, were there any complications between your pregnancy, being overweight, and then as you mentioned कि बहुत सारे वो diseases, family history और सब में थे, so were there any complications during that
so
period?
Fortunately no. In both my pregnancies, जबकि दोनों में 9 साल का फ़र्क है, and in fact बल्कि weight loss के बाद काफ़ी deficiencies और काफ़ी मसले हुए थे. But fortunately no problems in conceiving or in throughout the duration of the pregnancy. हाँ, मेरी diabetes shoot की थी in my first pregnancy. That was actually the triggering and the alarming point जहाँ पे मैंने अपने weight के बारे में सोचना शुरू किया था, because my mom used to be diabetic. And वो एक turning point था where my doctor said कि if you don't control now, ये लग जाएगी. And I was hardly 25, 26 at that time. So तब हुआ था कि इस age पे इतनी high diabetes होना is not cool.
But then you also broke another myth. Now you hear that a lot कि अच्छा overweight है, you will never conceive or anything. So that's another thing.
अच्छा, अब again, a lot of people ask me, a lot of followers ask me, I get this question a lot कि जी weight की वजह से हम pregnant नहीं हो रही. वो अब I somehow feel अल्लाह ताला की तरफ से होता है जो होता है. मैं ये कभी नहीं कहती कि आप ओवरवेट हो तो अच्छी बात है, आप प्रेग्नेंट हो जाओगी. आई कांट से दैट because a lot of people have health issues. I fortunately did not have any health issues at that time and everything went smooth. I actually had both my pregnancies were flawless, alhamdulillah. But again, I can't comment on के weight असर करेगा या नहीं करेगा, या हम प्रेग्नेंट अगर नहीं हो रहे तो वो वेट की वजह से. I a lot of people actually come up to me, ask these questions thinking कि I might be able to help, but then again these are all medical conditions which I can't answer to.
Yeah, but then I guess another thing that's related to it is कि आप इतना stress create कर देते हैं around that person. Since you and Aazer had that, mashallah, had that chemistry and relationship कि आप दोनों के बीच में acceptance और सारी चीज़ें थी, and you didn't have to go through the stress, and of course hence you conceive. I think एक और चीज़, I'm not saying कि you should be overweight, but then there should be acceptance whoever you're with. And since your second baby, he just turned 1, mashallah, and he's very cute. So उसके बाद I think things must have taken a turn also.
Yes, I was very used to the fact that my child is old enough to handle himself, and I was very relaxed उस तरह से कि वो अपनी जो the elder one शाज़ेन कि अपनी पढ़ाई खुद कर लेता है, सब कुछ मैनेज हो जाता है. I'm out and about the entire day working. So yes, things have turned और अब बहुत चीज़ें थोड़ी difficult लगती हैं मैनेज करना, but then again हो रहा है.
Alright, so how do you manage, so it's a personal question because I am a single mother as well. So how do you manage work and life balance? I saw this post of yours where you missed, I guess, an event of Shah Zain's school event. And it was the guilt trip, and that was very.
I think the mothers can never come out of that guilt. But बच्चा जितना मर्जी बड़ा हो जाए, you can't come out of that guilt because you always feel कि oh चोट लग गई, मैं पास होती तो शायद ना होता. Yeah, anything of that sort. It happens every day. Right now, literally right now, my elder one has a hairline fracture in his foot, and I can't stop working, so we have to manage things that way. So I think पहला साल जो था शाज़र के बाद का वो बहुत गिल्ट में गुजरा है. अब थोड़ी सी एडजस्टमेंट हो गई है. And I still feel for all the mothers out there, I still feel that I need to say this कि आप जैसे बच्चों को पालते हो या जैसे ट्रेनिंग देते हो, बच्चे उसी एटमॉस्फेयर में अडेप्ट कर जाते हैं. मेरे बड़े वाले को पता है कि there's no family around. My mother and father have to go to work, so he has adjusted it that way.
हाँ, आई थिंक एग्जैक्टली दैट ऑल्सो मैटर्स कि आपने हम शायद लिविंग इन सच अ सोसाइटी जहाँ पे हम बहुत बड़े भी हो जाते हैं बच्चे, तो उनको बहुत अपने ऊपर डिपेंडेंट रखते हैं. सो वो जो मैन चाइल्ड और इस तरह की वो टर्म्स हम
देखो, देयर आर हार्ड रियलिटीज ऑफ लाइफ. इन माय केस द हार्डेस्ट ऑफ रियलिटी इज दैट वी एक्चुअली डोंट हैव फैमिलीज ऑन बोथ साइड्स. सो आज़र के पेरेंट्स की भी डेथ हो चुकी हुई है, मेरी मॉम की भी डेथ हो चुकी हुई है. मेरे डैड हैं, बट ऑफ कोर्स आई एम नॉट गोइंग टू पुट माई चिल्ड्रन ऑन माई डैड. सो वी आर कह लो इंडिपेंडेंट, and we have to manage things on our own. So it is a very, very hard reality of life, but that is how it is. And I always tell my friends, followers, everybody that if you both mother and father या husband and wife have parents, चाहे in-law जैसे भी हैं, जो भी हैं, and if you're living in a joint family system, it is a blessing. I don't have it, therefore I can say that it is a blessing. Obviously everything has its pros and cons. A lot of people I know idolize me in a way कि ओ तुम तो अपना रहती हो ना, तुम अपनी मर्जी से कर सकती हो. मैं अपनी मर्जी से बहुत कुछ नहीं भी कर सकती. I have to be back home on time. I have to feed my children dinner, so I have to be home back on time. I can't go out late night. Me and Aazer can't imagine to go on date nights at all because either the kids are with us and we kind of enjoy staying at home and spending that time. After 7 or after 8, we want to stay home. We don't want to go out. हमें तो प्लीज़ हमें इन्वाइट ही ना करो, या किसी ने मिलना तो घर आ जाओ. So we like spending that time with our family because सारा दिन we're running around.
Yeah, it's actually how you adapt to your surroundings
and how you make your children adapt as well.
Exactly. What you know how life is what you make out of it वाली चीज़ है. So
you can't keep on cribbing all the time. You have to accept what the scenarios are and you have to make the best out of it.
Exactly. So what's your day-to-day routine and how do you manage, again coming back to the question, how do you manage work and life? And
it's a very difficult routine. I try to spend my mornings, of course, after breakfast. Breakfast is the time that कह लो हमारा date breakfast जो होता है, that is the time that we enjoy spending with each other because the elder one is gone to school and the younger one is sleeping. So I love getting up early and making breakfast for Aazer and sitting and talking or watching TV together, and that time is the best time. After that I spend my time with my little one क्योंकि वो भी एक alone time होता है. And then the hassle of the day starts that I go to the gym, I go to pick up Shahzain, come back home, drop him back, rush to my salon. And उसके बीच में obviously जो कोई shoot आ रहा हो, जो आपका influencer वाली चीज़ में आ जाती है, fashion related चीज़ें, shoots वगैरह, वो सारी उसके बीच में manage हो रही होती है. और वो सब कुछ end में wind up करके around 6, 7, at times 8, I head back to home. I try to go back home the time that Aazer comes home. So that,
So how is Aazer's routine like and how has he adapted to the situation at home?
Aazer does a job. He works for an agency and उसकी वो fixed timings हैं. But of course वही बात है कि जब काम होता है तो time ज़्यादा भी हो जाता है. But then we both coordinate in the day कि कौन पहले घर जा सकता है. If one person is running late due to any issue, the other one tries to be home. Like 6-7 बजे तक एक बंदा तो at least घर पहुँचे. Yeah.
Nice. So speaking of Aazer, how is your relationship with Aazer and how has it it helped you since the beginning? I mean आपको कोई ऐसी कोई चीज़ याद हो where you said मतलब एक वो होता ना आपको हिट करता है कि ओके अच्छा ये बंदा यहाँ पे नहीं होता तो I would be able.
रोज़ हिट करता है.
That's good.
रोज़ करता है. Honestly, when my mother passed away, it was a breaking point in my life. I was 22 when she passed away, and I did not know how to manage things because it was a sudden death. So पता ही नहीं था करना क्या है ज़िंदगी में, चलना कैसे, आगे जाना मतलब आगे करना क्या है, पढ़ना भी है तो क्या पढ़ना है, क्या मतलब हर चीज़ तो उनसे पूछ के की जाती थी, तो कुछ पता नहीं था. She was one person who always used to say कि तुम्हारी जल्दी शादी नहीं करनी, तुम पढ़ाई में अच्छी हो तो तुम पढ़ोगी. But then a year before I met Aazer and after my mom, things weren't doing well. Emotionally things were not doing well. So कहीं ज़ेन के खत्ते में भी नहीं था कि a person would come in my life and kind of take that place and make me feel better and not empty. That was Aazer, and somehow किस्मत ऐसी थी कि आज़र और मेरी मॉम का स्टार भी एक है और उनकी आदतें भी बहुत एक है, बहुत. तो जब शुरू में आई यूज्ड टू से कि मतलब मुझे लगता है अल्लाह मियां ने ना माँ तो ले ली, आपको उनके रूप में भेज, मतलब उनके रूप में मुझे एक और बंदा भेज दिया मेरी लाइफ में. सो द कनेक्शन रियली हिट वेल. और आज तक और आई थिंक बोथ it's the same both cases because he also doesn't have parents and he relies on me, I rely on him. And I think we both cannot move throughout the day if we don't have each other.
That's really great to hear. So I think since your journey is an inspiration, not just the weight loss journey, but also managing, like you said, without having help from the family side and everything. So there must be hundreds of couple out there जो कि सारी चीज़ें गुजरेंगे, but then they would probably maybe be struggling. So anything that you would want to advise them?
The only advice I have is कि देखें अगर आपका relationship आपस में अच्छा है ना तो you can overcome anything. This is something that I've been through. Families, ससुराल, लोगों की बातें, इवन आपकी अपनी फैमिली की बातें, ये नहीं, मैं कभी भी पिन पॉइंट नहीं करती कि हमेशा जी ससुराल नहीं बातें की हैं. मेरे केस में तो मेरी अपनी फैमिली में भी बहुत बातें की हुई हैं. सो बातें तो लोग करते हैं यार, उनका काम है. वेले लोग हैं, कोई और काम नहीं है करने को, तो बातें करनी है. उसके बारे में स्ट्रेस नहीं लेना चाहिए एट ऑल, बिकॉज अगर आपके अपने चार दीवारी का एनवायरनमेंट अच्छा है तो बाहर को आप रोक नहीं सकते हो. ठीक है, चाहे वो आपके सगी फैमिली क्यों ना हो, आप नहीं रोक सकते हो. What you need to focus is you, your husband, your spouse and your children. That is your family, that is your immediate family. If you have a good relationship with the others also, well and good. If not, you can't keep on taking stress of that. ये एक point हो गया. Other point, देखो लाइफ में बहुत ज़्यादा स्ट्रगल्स आते हैं. लाइफ इज़ नॉट ईजी. हमें अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह 13 साल हो जाएंगे शादीशुदा ज़िंदगी में. लाइफ इज़ नॉट ईजी. आपको फाइनेंशियल स्ट्रगल्स भी आते हैं, आपको बहुत चीज़ें आती हैं. देयर आर लॉट्स ऑफ अप्स एंड डाउन्स. But you can't, I feel a lot of women in our society especially pinpoint that the husbands are not able to, let's say, afford them. Yeah, afford the house or afford the kids or afford whatever, the akhrajat. It's okay. Hard times come. बाप के घर में होते, बाप पे टफ टाइम आता तो बाप को छोड़ देते, नहीं छोड़ सकते ना. तो फिर इस पॉइंट पे आकर आप हस्बैंड को क्यों स्ट्रेस आउट करते हो? एक बंदा जिसका काम है घर के लिए रोज़ी रोटी कमाना, और अगर वो एक फेज से गुजर आए और आप वो घर आके भी वही स्ट्रेस ले रहे हैं, वो बाहर भी स्ट्रेस ले रहे, तो वो बंदा कहाँ जाएगा? सो आई फील मनी इज़ नॉट इम्पॉर्टेंट. इट इज़ इम्पॉर्टेंट ऑफ कोर्स. टेकिंग स्ट्रेस ऑन मनी इज़ नॉट इम्पॉर्टेंट. टेकिंग स्ट्रेस ऑन लोगों की बातें इज़ नॉट इम्पॉर्टेंट. द ओनली थिंग दैट इज़ इम्पॉर्टेंट इज़ योर बॉन्ड, योर लव एंड द एनवायरनमेंट दैट यू हैव सेट इन योर ओन हाउस. दैट इज़ व्हाट्स. अगर आपको सुकून है अंदर से तो आप बाहर जाके भी कुछ ना कुछ अचीव कर ही लोगे.
आई थिंक वो स्ट्रेस सिर्फ एक ऐड ऑन होगा उस चीज़ को और वो प्रलॉन्ग कर देगा. एंड ऑल्सो टू द वुमेन दैट टेक इंस्पिरेशन फ्रॉम यू इन ऑल द एस्पेक्ट्स ऑफ लाइफ दैट यू कवर, एनीथिंग फॉर देम? Yeah, a lot of people talk to me about weight. Of course, weight is मैं weight के बारे में भी कहना चाहूँगी कि लोग उसका भी बहुत ज़्यादा स्ट्रेस लेते हैं. So number one, which a very important person in my life, Dr. Kamran, always tells me कि जब स्ट्रेस ले रही होगी वेट कम नहीं होगा.
सो ये एक बहुत मेजर फैक्टर है. सिंस आफ्टर माई सेकेंड बेबी मैंने बहुत स्ट्रेस लिया अपने वेट पे. आज भी शायद अंदर कहीं ले रही हूँ मैं स्ट्रेस अपने वेट पे. बट वाकई जब आप स्ट्रेस ले रहे हो तो आपका वेट कम नहीं होता, फाकों से वेट कम नहीं होता. यू हैव टू मैनेज, यू हैव टू बैलेंस. आई हैव बिन थ्रू इट ऑल. फाके कर लिए, स्ट्रेस ले लिया, जिम कर लिया, टेंशन ले ली, सब कुछ कर लिया. बट अब समझ आ गई कि वेट में कैसे कम होना है. इन चीज़ों से नहीं होगा और आपको अपनी बॉडी के हिसाब से बैलेंस करना है. यू कांट डू फैट डाइट्स, यू कांट डू फैट फक्कियाँ जो वो लोग कहते हैं, ये पाउडर घोल के पी लो, ड्रॉप्स पी लो, कावे जो ये रेडीमेड कोई मिलते हैं ये पी लो. नो, थिंक अबाउट योर ओन सेल्फ, योर ओन बॉडी. क्या आप कितना मैनेज कर सकते हो? आप इतना नहीं अपनी बॉडी को ड्रेन कर सकते कि आप फिर बच्चों को ही ना संभाल सको, आप अपना घर ही ना देख सको, आप काम पे ही ना फोकस कर सको. सो इट विल टेक टाइम बट यू विल गेट देयर.
Yeah, but also there's a process to it, you know, and every body is different from another.
Imagine people asking me अपना डाइट प्लान देते हैं. मेरा दिल करता है कभी कभी उनको मैं बेचना शुरू कर रही हूँ डाइट प्लान. My point is I am not the right person to tell you about a diet plan. I am not a certified nutritionist. I am in no place to tell you about a diet plan. What I did for myself is different. What might affect you would be different.
Exactly. So there's a way, again, there's a way of, you know, dealing with such things. और इसमें ये एक चीज़ आती कि do not stress about it at all.
And do not do fad things out there. That is very harmful for your body.
Yeah. Since you've gone through it all, I think आपका अभी जो business है, the salon that you own, वहाँ पे भी there must be a lot of women coming with image issues, and उनकी they could be brides or they could be, you know, उनके और बहुत सी लोगों की when they you know step in the salon तो बहुत अजीबोगरीब expectations होती हैं. So is there anything that you want to pick up from there and talk about it?
Again, when I'm present there and I see somebody talking about कि मुझे गोरा कर दो या ऐसे कर दो या वैसे कर दो, तो मेरा थोड़ा सा लेक्चर शुरू हो जाता है वहाँ पे. लेकिन फिर I realize कि मैं बहुत ज़्यादा अपने clients के साथ lectures भी नहीं कर सकती. What I try to tell them is about with my own experiences. If somebody is overweight, I'll try to not pinpoint them, but tell my own experiences that, you know, you should be happy in yourself. Again, I'm not saying that being overweight is good, but feeling bad about yourself is also not good. Don't feel sorry for yourself. Try to work on it. घर बैठ के रो के, अच्छा मज़े की बात है कि when we start feeling sorry about ourselves, we start eating more.
Yeah.
It's stress eating. मेरे साथ तो हमेशा होता है कि जब बेबी हुआ, वो एक पोस्टपार्टम डिप्रेशन थी, तो खाना इज़ द कम्फर्ट. मेरी अभी पिंक आई इन्फेक्शन हुई, मैं घर में बंद हो गई, बच्चों को हाथ नहीं लगा सक रही थी, डिप्रेशन में आई स्टार्टेड ईटिंग मोर. सो दे कम दीज डेज. इट्स ओके, करो ज़रूर, वो भी स्ट्रेस ईटिंग भी कर लो बेशक, लेकिन देन यू शुड नो वेयर टू स्टॉप, वेयर टू पॉज एंड वेयर टू थिंक अबाउट योर सेल्फ एंड नॉट के लोग क्या कहेंगे, इमेज कैसा होगा, पतली नहीं होंगी तो शादी नहीं होगी, पतली नहीं होंगी तो बॉयफ्रेंड नहीं एक्सेप्ट करेगा. दीज आर so common ke imagine there was this guy I was interested in long time back, obviously before Aazer. And the guy used to say मैं तुम्हारे इस वजन में अपने माँ बाप से नहीं मिला सकता. और at that time I used to cry over this and I used to be, अब मैं सोचती हूँ मैं लानत भेजती हूँ तुम पे, अब मुझे देखो. So you know, you should feel good about yourself and you should feel confident about it.
And it's actually the character, not, see, Aazer went past through the image and the character.
I still remember the only thing he pinpointed to his family was that I like her the way she is as a person. So देखिए हमारी सबकी families में ये problems आती हैं. Aazer and me, we are the same height. So when my father met Aazer for the first time, he said कि लड़का अच्छा है but height. अभी उन्होंने इतना ही बोला था, तो my sister stepped in and she said कि अब्बू वो भी तो कह सकता है कि इसका weight, तो अगर वो नहीं कह रहा तो you are in no place to say that. So I think that was a very good thing जो आज तक मेरे दिमाग में बैठ गई है कि height, weight, complexion, size. Aazer was very skinny, I was very fat. It was a very odd couple. लोगों की नज़र से क्या हुआ, अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह चल रहा है ना.
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल. और not just being overweight और ये अब
हमारी सोसाइटी में लड़का जैसा मर्जी हो खैर है, डार्क हो, छोटा हो, पतला हो, सबको जो खैर है, बस वो लड़का है, उसकी ज़िंदगी की यही अचीवमेंट है, जबकि वो अल्लाह ताला ने बनाया अचीवमेंट तो थी नहीं. बट औरत बेचारी डार्क हो तो उसको गोरा करो, मोटी हो तो पतला करो, बाल छोटे हैं तो लंबे करो,
पतली हो तो मोटा करो,
हाँ,
किसी को भी
पतली
नहीं
हो तो
रहने
मोटा करो.
एग्जैक्टली.
So that is our society. We actually can't stop. But again, I feel कि जो औरतें इस चीज़ से, my message from this podcast would be कि जो औरतें ये देख रही हैं, please don't feel sorry for yourself and don't think about what people would say. Look at yourself in the mirror. Think about yourself, how you want to look like, and that's it.
And if you accept the way that you are, be happy with it. I don't give a shit about what anybody thinks. So I think the message यही हम आगे लेके चलते हैं. The message from the podcast is कि acceptance बहुत ज़रूरी है. Whatever the way you are, you're skinny, you're fat. Obviously health issues और वो सारी चीज़ें side पे रखे, but you know, own it. Whatever you are, if you're dark, if you're fair, जो गोरे होते हैं उनको भी बातें होती हैं, जो डार्क होते हैं उनको भी बातें होती हैं. So acceptance is the key to living a happy life. And then obviously choosing a partner that accepts you the way you are that is the key to a successful marriage life, such as Haddiya's, mashallah. I'll wrap it up here and I'll see you in the next podcast. Tab tak ke liye, Allah Hafiz.